Hello, we're going live soon with Hector Aristizabal, and my name is Uri. If you've been following my Substack, I've been developing a framework with friends and colleagues around theater for reconnection and theater that reconnects, inspired by the work of Joanna Macy, a work that reconnects, and theater of the oppressed, social pressing theater. I've been doing a lot of kind of action-based research in the last 15 years with that, and I've met many teachers, many great um, mentors and friends in this field, but there is something special about Hector for me. We met back in 2010. I was volunteering in Nepal in an organization called Tikkun Olam, yeah, Tikkun Olam, and like repairing the world. And I was teaching theater of the oppressed in villages in the city of Kathmandu. And my now friend and colleague Gopal Aryal, who was assigned to me as a translator and facilitator for the sessions, he said, "Well, there is a festival in Kathmandu, and we should go and see what's happening there." And we went there, and I asked if someone is going to do theater of the oppressed, and they said Hector. And I already knew about Hector's work. I found Imagine Action website. I even planned to go to a workshop in Vienna and wasn't able to do that. And I reached out because he was already a Facebook friend. I said, "Oh, I'm in Kathmandu. I see that you're coming," and we connected. And I had a chance to be in his workshop, also document, videograph the workshop, doing the sound effects of his play Night Wind, and and yeah, he was immediately inviting me to get involved in everything he was doing. We traveled together, both of us. We were planning to go to India for the Jana Sanskriti Muktadara festival, and we actually were assigned the same room. And I just still remember I was very, very, very anxious because I proposed in my very little experience at the time uh, to run a workshop and would have set the first workshop in this international gathering with over 60 facilitators that have done this work for 10 and 20 years and 30 years. And here I was just, you know, fresh out of university and being facilitating this workshop in a very big echoey room with a group that I never, a size group that I never worked with. And I had all sorts of weird nightmares that night, if there were nightmares or just, I was rerunning the workshop, and Hector was with me, and yeah, he was really supportive. And I also asked him, I didn't know how to do some of the games with such a big group. Um, and yeah, he immediately kind of stepped in and he said, look, and he worked with half of the group in the games, and then I worked with other half, and then it all worked out, and I felt really supported and thankful. He also gave me his book, um, The Blessing Next to the Wound. And the whole encounter with Hector, I can honestly say, was truly life-changing. And I could really resonate with the book and the play and say, like, yeah, like this work makes sense for me. So when I was in India and he invited me and a few other people to go with him to Northern Ireland and do this internship, I immediately said yes, although I was planning to travel eastwards to go around the world. And I went back, changed my plans, went to Ireland, joined the first sort of mentoring experience with Imagine Action and Hector in Londonderry, and it was, yeah, again, such a deep learning experience. And since then, we have exchanged in many ways. I had a chance to support workshops, invite him, organize, and a couple of years ago, he came here where we live now in Italy and did a mentoring retreat for 5 days, which was wonderful. And currently, Hector is living. and working mostly in Colombia. And he's coming a bit less to Europe as he used to be in the past, but now he's coming. He's coming to do a work in Germany with Afghan refugees from three different continents, and that's a chance to organize a workshop with him. So we're organizing a weekend workshop, 6, 7, 8 of June, and that's the live we're going to record is about that. Um, yeah, and it's going to be in Italy, in Tuscany, in Pontedera, the place that, if you know, uh, Jerry Grotowski spent some of his uh, last operational years with a work center built here. And yeah, and we're going to be in a special place called Spazio Nu, where we have already organized some trainings in the past, and a lovely space near the river where the river Arno meets the river Era. So Pontedera, the bridge over Era, and the meeting of the Arno River. And yeah, that's what we're going to discuss. And maybe I'll also do a little uh, thing in Italian. And while the workshop would be mostly in English, I would, mm, me and maybe also Ilaria, we will be able to provide simultaneous translation. So I'll do a little bit of Italiano. So, quindi siete benvenuti. Io ho parlato fino adesso in inglese, ma l'importante è che sapete che questo incontro è un'opportunità di conoscere il lavoro di Hector in Italia, che viene dopo un po' di anni che non viene in Europa e fare un lavoro profondo, a deep work. So, yeah, I'm, I see we have someone listening, and we're waiting for Hector to wake up. He's in Colombia now, and listen a bit to our conversation. And um, you can also listen to me in Italian speaking again. Stiamo aspettando a Hector che collega e parliamo del laboratorio che fa in Italia 6-7 giugno a Pontedera. And maybe I'll share a little bit about the type of work that we're envisioning. So as I shared before, I've been doing theater of the oppressed, social presence theater for 15 years. In the last years, I really kind of saw a convergence around deep ecology and the work that reconnects and trying to bring these different streams that different people are doing, different practitioners are going from different directions into bringing together these different approaches for theater and also for ecology, where we reconnect with ourselves and each other and nature. And as a sort of a stage for transforming our relationship with nature and nature as self, and others as nature and self as others. So all of this theater that reconnects is part of it. The work that Hector has been doing in Colombia, uh, combining the work that reconnects and theater, working with communities, working in the jungle, working with opposing side is a big inspiration. And I think something that we really want to spotlight and explore when he's here. So we'll start with a sort of introduction to this work on the Friday, giving some foundation for people coming maybe from different levels of experience and interest. We'll do a storytelling evening, and then we kind of go deeper on the Saturday, 7th of June, into the work, creating ritual, creating theater as a ritual, and looking at the work that reconnects rituals as described by Joanna Macy, but adding that embodiment, that theater ingredient, and learning from Hector uh, of his way of seeing things. We'll then move on the Sunday for sense making and really kind of seeing what we learn and maybe having an opportunity for people to exchange ideas and practices and kind of build a collective dream. So a sort of open space of dreams, of possibilities for this work coming forward. Um, I've been teaching some of this work online in the last 3, 4 years. And while that's incredible that some of this work can be done online, and I've seen people make really big strides here, um, there is nothing like doing it in person, as some of you might know. So the coming together of bodies in a space is irreplaceable. So I hope that you'll see it as a chance to kind of come to ground and meet and exchange with me and Hector and each other as a space for really kind of grounding this work, coming together and bringing place in. And maybe I'll say about the fact that the place we're going to be is near two rivers and the convergence of two rivers, the Arno, which is the Arno River that travels from the ridge of Tuscany, Reggio Emilia, and to the sea, Tyrrhenian Sea in near Pisa. And yeah, and then we'll the meeting of the Era, which is a smaller river that converge. So there's an encountering of two rivers symbolically near our site. Um, and we will enjoy good Italian food and a space where there's a lot of cultural exchange in the space where we're going to be, Spazio Nu, which I believe comes from an Eastern concept of the right time, the time. Um, and yeah, so I see Hector is still not waking up, so I'm going to stop the live and we'll get back to you once Hector is back. That was a little bit of introduction. Thank you for coming. I see Janet is here. Janet, will be great to have you with us in Italy. Um, and yeah, I hope we can really gather around this. Cheers.